Yo, what's going on, everyone? It's your boy Ethan. Hope you're having a great day. We're back here back home, first session from that lovely punt. We're outside the brook, and I think there's a 2-5 game going. And you know what? You've got to keep grinding out that content. You got to keep your head down and just keep on playing. So 2019 was the year of the bankroll challenge when I went from 0 to 10K playing 1-3. 2021, 2 years later, we're gonna do the bankroll rebuild. Put this tally marker and counter up here from minus 10K back up to 0. Let's see how long it'll take us to recoup the losses from that one silly hand. Anyways, this bankroll rebuild starts now. It'll be fun to just see how costly this mistake was. I think it was costly, but let's get back in there, grind out this 2-5 and just start chipping away.
Upon entering the brook, we hop into the must move, and we're only playing four-handed to start. So here in this first hand, ace-jack offsuit on the button. We're certainly going to get involved in this hand here. When action folds to me, I open things up to $20. We only get the small blind player to make the call. The flop comes king 8-5 all hearts, and this player checks to me. On monotone boards, I think c-betting is actually really great just to really easily take down pots, but in this instance, I thought ace-jack high was okay to just check back. The turn now comes another 5. This player throws out a bet now of $35, and here on this turn, if we're going to check back ace-jack high with enough showdown, we're certainly going to have to handle some resistance and call some turn bets. So I make the call for $35, and the river is now a 6. Not really an amazing card, doesn't really change too much per se, and he does throw out another bet of $55. End of the day here, I do one of those F it, I call moments, and this player shows us Jack 3 offsuit. I don't think he had a heart either. So anyways, Jack high is not going to take it down, ace jack high will. Nice to win the first pot of the day, bluff catching. Second hand with ace 5 in the big blind, there's a button straddle, and I decide to raise it up to $40. We're still playing four-handed in this instance. The button straddler now puts in a re-raise and 3 bets to 130. We're both starting about $1,000 deep, given that is the maximum buy-in, and here, four-handed, ace-5 suited, certainly playable. I'm going to make the call, although 4-betting is just unfortunate because we're only playing 100 bigs. So only decision is a call, going to a flop out of position, which comes ace-king 4 to diamonds. Obviously, top pair is nice for us. I decide to check. He throws out a c-bet of $85, pretty much expecting him to do this with all his value and bluffs hands on this specific board texture. Easy decision for us, obviously, we make the call. The turn is the ace of spades, and when action is onto me, I feel like I can sometimes lead out here on this card, but as played, I decided to check, and he checks it back, so it doesn't seem like he has too much. The river is the deuce of diamonds. Obviously not really an amazing card as the flush draw gets there, but with trips, still have to throw out a bet. I decided to size to $180, maybe get some non-believing kings to call or something like that, but ultimately onto him, he decides on a fold. Later tells us that he had pocket 9s. From the must move to the main game we go, picking up pocket jacks in the big blind on a full ring game here. There's an undergun open to $10. There are 3 calls around, so $40 pretty much of dead money in the middle, and onto me, obviously. Definitely going to raise it up. Maybe I'll look like a squeeze as well, given all the action. But out of position, I size up to $80. And immediately, the player to my right is not happy about it. Roll the audio clip.
Is this a final? You just gotta be cautious. That's it.
Wasted fucking $10.
Let's do it, man. I was really mad about that $10.
Anyways, the undergun player to my left folds as expected. Don't think he has too strong of a holding. Now, expecting to take it down pre-flop, but the cutoff player has other ideas. He thinks for a while and ultimately makes the call, surprisingly. Other players fold, so we're actually going to go heads up out of position. Didn't expect this, but we'll see a flop. The flop is 6-5 deuce rainbow, and on this board, it relatively looks safe for our hand, but it definitely can be losing to a set here as he's set mining with lower pocket pairs. Obviously, he can have 6s, 5s, deuces, all that fun stuff, and I don't know if he'll ever have 3 deuce suited, but here we are. Anyways, still a good flop for us to c-bet. I throw out $75. and this player makes the call with about a few hundred behind. The turn is now the Queen of Diamonds. Although it is a card over our pair, it's not something I should be too concerned about. Not a whole lot of Queen X's in his calling range, I don't think. If he has a suited connector, I think we can get a lot of value from draws and some pair plus draws, all that stuff with good equity. I size up to 175. This player thinks for a while, looks at his cards, and looks like he's going to fold, and ultimately he does. So anyways, 3 hands in. It's been a smooth start so far to the session. Next hand, we've got King 4 of clubs on the button. There's an on-the-gun player who limps. He's been playing a pretty wide range and action onto me. Given that we are on the button, I'm going to try something out here and experiment. I put in a raise to $25. I think obviously King 4 suited is a good hand to open with without the limper, but anyways, we'll see. The small blind on my left, he seems to be playing even a wider range than the on-the-gun player. He decides on a call. So on-the-gun player who limped also calls as well. So 3 players who play the widest ranges to a flop. The flop comes ace 3-4 rainbow. Action checks to me. We do have a piece of the board, also ace high boards, probably going to c-bet. I actually bet $25, pretty small 1/3 pot for value here with middle pair. Only the player on my left in the small blind makes the call. The turn is now a queen. He checks to me and pretty ambitious to continue betting here. Really would just be turning my hand into a bluff, and I think we have enough showdown to just take it to the streets. So I decided to check it back and see a river. The river is another queen, and upon this card landing, he immediately throws out $100 really quickly. Not sure what to do here. In this short time I've been in this main game, I've seen him bluff a lot, but considering that I did check back on the turn, he could be trying to take advantage of my weakness or sign of weakness. Certainly can bluff catch. I don't love bluff catching here though, just because the ace is out there and our king clicker doesn't play. And I think I can find a better spot to do so later in the session since it's so early. Anyways, ultimately I decided on just to fold, live to fight another day, and find a better spot next time. Next hand after that, it's a fun one of 5-6 of diamonds and +1, playing 6-handed. I raise it up to $20, we get the button to make the call, and that's all the pre-flop action we got. The flop comes 4, 5, 7, 2 spades and a diamond, so middle pair, open-ended, backdoor, flush draw as well. We've got a lot going for us. I put in the c-bet to $25, and this player decides on a call. The turn is now the king of clubs, and I'm in a really interesting predicament here as the preflop raiser and opener certainly hits my range of hands more than his, since he just flat called and he just called in this flop. Shouldn't have too many king X's. Anyways, I do have good equity, I do have good showdown, and I'm also love putting money in the middles, so I decided to turn my hand to a semi-bluff and bet out $75. Sadly though, we face a little bit of resistance here. He decides to rip his entire stack in there for 284 total. Kinda screwed myself up here, given how much equity I've got. Definitely didn't want to face this action, unfortunately. I certainly can call for like the $210 more, but ultimately I don't think I'm priced in. I could be drawing pretty much dead and hoping for a chop if he did somehow flop a straight. I lose to a lot of 2-pair combos, and anyways, I think about it for a while, but uncomfortable spot to be in. I just let this one go. Upon folding, this player shows the 6 of clubs, so interesting card to show. Who knows if I may or may not have been ahead. He could have had a hand like 7-6 of clubs and had us totally dominated, so I'm just gonna let this one go. So dynamics start to shift as the player to my left was limping and calling raises pre with 10-3. So we're definitely going to try to get involved with the player to my left, and moving forward here in this hand, ace-4 offsuit, under the gun straddle. The player to my left limps, and he can limp pretty much everything like I said, even 10-3. There's a button raised to $30, the big blind makes the call, and since I'm the straddler, it's only $20 more to call. I have an ace, and although it's not really a great ace, we're still going to play it, and especially since the player to my left is going to be involved anyways. So I call for 20, player to my left also calls for 20 more. We're going to a flop multi-way. The flop comes ace 8-5 rainbow. Action checks to the player to my left who limped, and he donks out $40. The button player who raised pre gets out of the way. The big blind calls, and I really don't love seeing another player in there since we do have kicker issues where our ace, if we're up against better aces, like there's so many other better aces, all of them actually. Anyways, I do have some kicker issues, but against this specific player, I'm not going to be folding just yet. I call for 40. The turn is now the Jack of clubs. Both of us, once again, check to the player to my left, and he bets at 100. Onto the big blind. I'd love to see a fold from him so I can feel more confident about my hand, and luckily he does. So nice to see him fold, and now easy decision for us. With an ace with top pair, we're not going to go anywhere. I make the call. The river is now the 8 of clubs. Not really an amazing card, as he could be betting with an 8 sometimes or with a turn flush draw that might have gotten there. Regardless, there's nothing for us to do besides just check to him. He throws out another bet, this time after thinking for a while. He bets out $250, and given what I've seen so far at the table, it's an easy snap call. I'm just never going to fold top pair against him. If he has me beat, so be it. But I make the call. This player shows King 4 offsuit. So ambitious bluff there, and we're happy to take down this pot. And like I said, we're waiting for a better spot, and this one was one of them. One of the final hands of the night, we pick up King 10 off in the small blind, this time still playing four-handed, a little short here. Action actually ends up folding to me, so we're playing blind versus blind. King 10 off, I open things up to $15, just 3x. Now the big blind player puts in a 3-bet to 60. Seems like a pretty solid, competent player, and given the dynamics here, I have a very playable hand even though we're out of position. I decide on a call. The flop comes 8-3-4 rainbow, so pretty much just a brick flop for us. I decide to check, and this player actually checks it back. The turn is now another 8, and definitely can try to take a stab at this, but I think king high has some showdown value, so I decided on a check. And now this player actually snap checks it once again. So when he checks it twice, definitely seems like he has an ace high holding or absolutely nothing, but I'm leading him towards having some sort of showdown driven hand that isn't strong enough to bet. Anyways, heads up, the river is a 7. And now given that dynamic on the turn, I definitely think king high sometimes can be good here, but I don't think it's good enough to let action just get checked through and we lose to ace high sometimes. So I just wanted to win it right here and right now. I throw out a small bet of $40, one, hoping he didn't hit a 7 on the river, and hoping it's good enough to fold his ace highs as it looks like value. Anyways, he thinks for a little bit, and sadly, unfortunate news, he calls. Puts in chips for a call. I show my king high. There's no way we're good here, and this player shows us ace jack, so ace jack high is going to take it down. Nice hand, nice call.
All right, so wrapping up a pretty short session here today. Unfortunately, this place closes a little bit earlier at midnight, so we only played for a little over 2 hours, but nevertheless, a successful first session back. I swear, dude, if we didn't make this ridiculous bad punt, I'd be having a hell of a month of May, but regardless, we've got a mountain to climb. We were in the game for 1,000, out of the game for 1,638, and there we go, $600 closer to our 10K hole. Bit by bit, we'll climb this mountain. Anyways, hopefully enjoyed this one. A little bit of a quickie session. I didn't know this place closed a little bit earlier, so we'll plan ahead for that, but hopefully enjoyed this one. They're also playing 6-handed still, so love the 6-handed action. Always a big fan of that, but thanks so much for watching. Let's just chip away at this deficit in the next video. Thanks for watching. Peace.